Allyson Stollenwerck is an 8-year veteran of Westport's Board of Finance, including serving as vice chair. She spent 2 decades with international nonprofits, managing multi-million-dollar budgets. She began her career as a corporate securities lawyer and served as counsel to the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. She's a graduate of Stanford and Yale Law School and has lived in Westport for 23 years.
24 now, I think.
24, that's right. Okay.
Almost.
Almost a quarter century. Allyson, welcome to 0688.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So that is quite some resume, but let's dive in. Going from United States Department of Justice to the Westport Board of Finance, is that a step down, up, or sideways?
I would say up. So I actually had to talk to my son's democracy class about why municipal government. So I've thought a lot about that and the difference between, not only did I work for the Justice Department, I worked for the judiciary, I worked as an intern in the Senate, and what is it that I loved about municipal government is that you can make quick change for neighbors and friends.
For neighbors,
People you see. And so I went back and I thought, well, what was I up to at the Justice Department? It was important stuff, very important stuff. Children exposed to violence, hate crimes. It was very fancy. I had a big office with the flag. The FBI director knocked on my door, said, I know the name Stollenwerck. Fancy stuff that, you're in a big appellate court, seal on the wall, great judge. But at the end of the day, it's very hard to move the needle on some of these policy issues. The issues in the court, again, sort of meaty but very arcane. Does this court have jurisdiction? There's no person. Not so, the Board of Finance. In the first month after I was elected, it was the Staples Auditorium where you had dozens of kids in front of you who could say, this is what it means to me. We did this play, 10,000 people saw it. This is why the stage is poor. And you could approve that stage and make a real difference that you could see immediately. Same with some of the, we had the young women athletes before us. So that's not as fancy, but really rewarding in the difference that you can make for folks.
And you see these people at Trader Joe's and
100%. The plaintiff somewhere down the line in this court case, and we did. I don't mean to minimize it. There were children, who were being helped, but not faces I saw in the grocery store. Not my kids' friends. So it's a real gift in that way.
I am sure there are many people in Westport who have, backgrounds similar to yours, but you stepped up. What made you run for office? And this is your second term, interrupted by several years.
So I had no axe to grind. It was 2002. I had arrived in Westport. If you're interested in democratic politics, democratic governing, either you find Martha Asen and Doris Stutman, the grand dames of democratic politics, or they find you. They used their spidey sense. So I had met them, and they introduced me to Diane Farrell.
Who was the first select woman?
Who was the first select woman back then. She came up to me and said, would you like to be on the Board of Assessment Appeals in 2003? And I said, the Board of Assessment, what? But I liked her. I learned about the work. I thought, okay, that's interesting. I did that for 2 years to 2005. And then I guess it all went fine. And she came back and said, there's a vacancy on the Board of Finance. Would you like to do that? And I said, the Board of Finance, what? But I listened to the meetings. I learned more about it. I thought, this will be great. So I took the appointed seat, I think that was 2005 to 2007, and then I ran for election because I liked the work and wanted to do more of it for all those sort of reasons we talked about, making the change in your neighbors' lives in a way that you could see in relatively quickly.
And then there was an interregnum.
There was an interregnum, my second tour. So I had been on the board at 6 years when it would come time to run again. At that point, I had 2 young kids, full-time job, and I term limited myself. I decided enough of me for a little while. I think it's nice to have a mix of people who move off and then people who stay on to keep the expertise. So I left. And then I came back in 2024.
So tell us about the Board of Finance. What do you do? And how do you do it?
So we do a couple things, sort of most simply. We approve the town's budget, the operating budget, and the school budget, the operating budget.
2 separate budgets.
2 separate budgets. Then we also approve any appropriations that come outside of that, and those are typically capital appropriations. We approve leases, and then we set the mill rate. So those 3 things are our big to-dos.
They affect every Westporter.
That affect every Westporter, for sure. Go ahead.
How do you do it?
So the first piece that approving the operating budget, actually, this is the best moment for the podcast.
We're in the middle of it.
Well done. So that starts on the town side really in February when we will get from Kevin and his team the town budget. We'll have it, and it will be online. We'll have a series of meetings in February. Everybody is welcome to come to those, and they will be taped, I think, for the first time. We'll go through line by line that budget for all of the departments.
Literally line by line?
Yeah. And
it's a lot of lines.
I should have brought the book. It's a lot of lines. We won't go, we can see the list of staff people. We're not going to say this person or that staff person, but we'll look at some of the bigger expenditures and give our thoughts about, whether we think this is something that makes sense. We'll have a discussion about it. They'll go back and consider what we've said. So that happens in February. In March, they come before us in a more formal way and present the new budget. We vote on it. We can keep it the same. We can cut. If we do cut, they can come back in April and say, please restore what you cut. And then in May, we set the mill rate. The school follows a very similar process. They start a little bit earlier in December, but same, they have workshops. We're invited as the Board of Ed, we're as the Board of Finance, we're audience members. The Board of Ed is sort of calls the shots, but we can listen, comment at any of their conversations. They come in March, present their budget, same thing. Accepted or make cuts. If they're cuts, they can come back, and then in May in the mill rate. So this is the perfect time to start attending the meetings in February, listening, providing insight for us and thoughts for us as it moves its way through the March and April process.
How do you know what you're voting? How do you know whether this fire truck is right or?
Yeah, so that is a lot of those are sort of the capital expenditures. We do look at the operating budget, but I think what people probably see more of are these capital expenditures. So if you watch a monthly meeting, you'll see a fire truck, or you'll see a roof, or you'll, see a car or a boiler or sewer, or you may see a seawall, which is, a little more zippy.
Very sexy.
Right, at least more so than a boiler. And so we look at all of those and we say, okay, is this a need to have? Or a nice to have. A boiler that could explode is in the need to have category. Is it need to have? It's nice to have. How much is it going to cost? How many people are going to benefit from it? Does it align with our values as a community? And then we make the best decision we can about whether or not we should approve it.
We were talking before we started taping about years past.
Yes.
When there was some contention. You mentioned the Board of Ed would come in with a budget that they knew was going to get cut. You knew that they knew it was going to get cut.
Right. It was a little game.
Little game. And what was it like then, and what's it like now, and what's the difference?
I think it was just more contentious. If you knew the board was going to come in with an 11% increase and it wasn't real, and they would, say things at the time, if you don't approve this, there will be no language programs in the elementary school. There will be no music programs. And it just sort of created this energy in the community where parents were upset that potentially these things were going to be cut. The board was in a defensive position, but it was a game, it wasn't real. So it was just a harder environment to work in with all the sort of pretense that came with it. And now we have a much better relationship with the school board, with the superintendent, who we know when they bring stuff to us, if they're asking for money, it is well considered.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it seems that from an outsider's point of view, the Board of Finance is pretty collaborative.
Yeah, for sure. We have 4 Republicans, and 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans, to a person, smart, kind, collaborative, very lucky, and care a lot about being respectful for each other, doing high quality work, but getting along while we do it. And that makes it a real pleasure. And if you watch some of the other board meetings in town, not always so.
Yeah.
And we're all volunteers. We're all trying to make the community a better place. It's nice that we can do it in a, respectful, relaxed environment.
And it seems that you're trying to go out and become, like you talked about, you want all these people. Do you really want people at your meetings?
Yes. So it's lonely. Yes, we are starting a communications initiative, which I think you know a little bit about, which is to get more people to care about our work, to provide more input to us. So one of the things we are doing is office hours at the library. Right here. The 3rd Thursday of each month, there's a morning and a night. There'll be a member of the Board of Finance here. Stop by, tell us what's on your mind, what's concerning to you. We can take it in. And then we know that there's not going to be a line out the door. The library's not going to have to, shoot people away. But it's a start. But so the other thing we want to do is actually go out proactively. You actually helped pull together a list of all the groups in town. I think, we've adopted 9 or 10 of them as a board that we're going to reach out to, say, hey, can we come to your board meeting or a membership meeting? And these are groups where they're engaged folks who care about the town, who have lots of connections. So we're going to try and spread the word. We'll come to you. You don't also have to come to us. And part of the reason for that, right, is to the extent that we have to make decisions about capital projects, the more voices, the better. If to the extent that healthcare costs are something also we care about, are rising, we're looking at that. But if you have a healthcare expert who shows up, that's great. People have creative ideas that we haven't thought about. More voices, I think, in any, I love to work in groups at work because you get better ideas the more people who come. Oh. So anything we can do to open the process, we will try.
All you can do is try.
Yeah.
So what kind of misperceptions do people have about the Board of Finance?
I don't know if there are misperceptions. It may be they just don't know that we exist.
Really?
I think so. Okay. I mean, I don't think I've had people come up and say, why are you doing this or you don't do this? I think it's more people have questions about what we do if they find out I'm on the board.
So we do have a ton of capital expenses coming up.
We do.
You want to go through what some of them are and how you're looking at them?
Sure. So it's a little bit early because I know Kevin is putting together...
Kevin Christie,
our great new first select person, and his team are putting together a new capital forecast. So we don't yet know what's on that.
So this will be different than Jen Tooker's?
Could be. Okay. Could be. We would, I shouldn't.
Can't speak for him.
Yes, but I would expect that we would see Coleytown on it. I expect we'll see Longshore improvements, which are, big cost. We may see the combined police and fire public security complex. I'm not sure about that one because during the campaigns, it wasn't clear how the candidates were thinking about that. Even if we don't, I think our firehouses do need some upgrades, so we may see those. So those are, I think, the big ticket Longshore, Coleytown, and some security. And then, you get your bridges, your roofs, your boilers, your cars, your sidewalks, and they, if they're $1 million or $2 million a pop,
talking real money.
They add up.
Yeah,
they add up.
Can we afford it?
So that's the job, to look at each one, and as I said, decide, need, want. How much does it cost? Is it important for the community? Does it comport with our values? So those are the decisions. What we would like is, so we have this sort of capital forecast that we've had before, that Kevin is working on putting his forth, but it has served in the past more of sort of a laundry list, but not a prioritized list. That sort of need, want, if it's a need, on what time frame. So we want to make that document more strategic and really understand picture from now going forward, which will help make decisions. We also want to help us make better decisions. Better sounds a little dry, but we get a form that goes through what the rationale for an expenditure, but it's pretty bare bones. So when those capital expenditures come to us, more deeper rationale. Do we need to do it now? What other towns are doing it? Is it the right vendor? What are the risks if we don't do it? So that's how we look at it. None of these items do we put out. So our role, maybe that's a misperception. We are not saying we want a new Coleytown as the board. The school board or the town is coming to us and saying, these are the projects we would like, and then we evaluate them.
Are there emergency expenses that come before you?
For sure. An elevator in Town Hall was just broken. Actually, they paid for it without asking. But that's...
Are they supposed to do that?
Apparently they can.
Okay.
Yes. So things like that do pop up. I think a sewer pump was about to fail. So there are things that show up, of course, that are unexpected, and we have to deal with. And some new stuff, the ADA, we did an ADA audit, and it suggested some things that we should be doing. So in time, we'll be doing more.
I know
of those.
Barbieri, our park
I heard him talk about that. Yeah,
talks about the ADA a lot.
Yeah. So we need to, we need to make sure we're compliant. It will take some time to roll it out, but so those sorts of expenses as well, and they are on, or they were on the current capital forecast, and I suspect that they'll be there again.
You mentioned projects that align with the town values. What does that mean?
Yeah. So I think it's easy to think about the schools, right? In that Westport is known for high-quality schools, and we want to make sure that we have schools that, reflect the type of education that we want to provide for, our kids. When I think about
that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Even when I think about the operating budget, this isn't a capital expenditure, but we give some money to Earthplace, a small amount. I think it's $100,000 maybe. But Earthplace was sort of a victim of its own success. They were raising money. We gave them money at a time when they were struggling. And so some people on our board said, they're much better now. Let's cut the amount. And I just thought this is my own view, that's not the value. That's not what we want to say. And, people on the board do like Earthplace a lot. But I just couldn't make a small cut because I wanted to demonstrate that we care about this, and we care about the environment, and we care about open space. And then ultimately the RTM restored.
Transit always comes up. Westport Transit District.
Similar, right? That Wheels to You isn't perfect. It actually is getting, much better buses, better communication. But I think we should have mass transit in town. That's a value that I think is important. So I also didn't vote for that cut. And again, people feel differently about that, and they have reasons that are compelling to them. But it was on those two, when the operating budget came before us, I wanted to make the statement that we should have mass transit and that we should support Earth Place. Yeah. So those are my own.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So when you drive around town, walk around town, do you look at things with a different eye because you're on the Board of Finance than the normal?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know. So I will give an example that's not just me sort of walking around, but when we went to see the change in the marina seawall, which is eroding. And
at Campo Beach.
At Campo Beach.
At Dimes Arena.
Yeah, right. So there's a wall that goes straight down. It's eroding, so it's cracked and water's coming underneath. And we had to, we were being asked to replace it with a sort of sloping wall called a revetment, because we have a sloping wall on the other side. And I walked around and I saw vegetation there, and you can build something called a living seawall, which you use plants to trap the water. And so it turned out it wasn't right, but there would be some benefits if we did it. It would be a very small portion of this wall that could be living, but for educational purposes, we'd get some biodiversity, et cetera, et cetera. So now we couldn't do it there, but now my eye is out for are there other places that we might be able to do some sort of, less concrete, less stone, more living vegetation to deal with our structures. And, our head of public works said there might be. So that's great. So I think a little bit I walk around and say, are there environmentally friendly solutions here that we might think of?
Did you know anything about that, or did you learn along the way?
So I did. I did know a little bit about it. So as we were doing the tour, there was a small section of that first revetment that had marsh, and Pete Rakovich said the environmental department will not let you touch marsh like that because it has these properties where it can absorb water. I knew that from my day job around, the vegetation. And so I sort of grabbed onto that. I don't think I would have unless he said it, but I did know that. So it sparked all right, how can we think about that? Wow. Which sparked a conversation with the aquarium, which I'm part of an advisory group, which sparked a conversation with other nonprofits who actually looked at the area to see whether a seawall would be possible. So, those are the kinds of things that, some of it is approving roofs, but there are sort of interesting innovations that we can, see if we can put into place. Another reason to bring more people along who know more than any of us do about all sorts of things.
The town is filled with people who have really interesting backgrounds.
Yeah.
A couple of minutes left, and this is great. So, Allyson, as a human being, not as a Board of Finance member, been in Westport for 24 years. Mm-hmm. What's Westport mean to you?
It's just a happy place for us. We have wonderful friends. It's a beautiful place. If you walk on the beach, you're just happy. I love that it's got sort of an arts bent still. I love that folks are so committed to issues, are out there speaking their minds, saying what they care about. It's just, it's a great community to be a part of. Great people doing great things in you can't beat it. I'm looking out at the water.
Gorgeous.
Terrific schools, all that stuff.
Where do you hang out?
Where do I hang out? A lot at the library. I do. I love it. I love it here. We'll walk on the beach, some, downtown. We try and use a lot of errands up and down.
A lot of traffic.
That's not our purview.
Right. You don't have to worry
Thank
about
goodness. I'm leaving now.
And your kids have had a good experience?
Yeah, both, for sure.
What are they involved in?
So my older son went to Staples, graduated in 24. He is now at Wesleyan, so near
Great
Connecticut. Place. When he was at Staples, he was very focused on the environment. Actually, we didn't talk about it, but one of the reasons I went back to the board in 24 is that he got very interested in issues around the garden. And so I saw him advocate before the P&Z. I hadn't been involved in a while. I saw him write a speech, get up and talk, the players, the people, and I thought I missed this. And at around that time, Brian Stern, who had been on the Board of Finance for many years, he was stepping down. And the Democrats called and said, would I pursue the appointment? And it was just the right moment where I saw him becoming active in a cause that he cared a lot about. My other son, I was thinking he played Westport soccer for a while, and so I was thinking back to my days of managing travel soccer many years ago. Not sure I would. I'm not sure I would wish that on anyone, but it was very formative in his life.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
anything I should have asked about the Board of Finance that I did not?
I don't think so. Anything I would ask that anything that you can do through your blog and everybody in town that, you can come, that you can encourage to find us at office hours, to come to our meetings, any groups that you're a part of, if you want, and anybody listening, if you're part of an organization, a board here, if you want a Board of Finance member to come and tell you more about what we do, brainstorm how we can work together, we're here for that.
You want to give another plug for the office hours?
The office hours are the third Thursday of each month, 10 to 11, or 7:30 to 8:30 at night. So we accommodate people whose schedules are better in the morning, better in the evening. You can come in and ask. Most of them are in room 213, I think, but it'll be able to tell you when you get here, there'll be at least one board member here. So the third Thursday of the month is this Thursday, actually. So
great.
Come on down.
Great. It's not this Thursday because we don't know when this will air, but
right.
Check your calendars.
Check your calendar.
All right. Allyson Stollenwerck, the Board of Finance, everything you didn't even know you didn't
wanted to know.
Yeah. Thank you for
thank you for having us. Thank you for being part of our, efforts in a really tangible way to talk about what we do and to bring people aboard.
We are all in it together.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks.
You bet.